If you're going to work with a personal branding guy and you can't find them, a guy or girl, if you Google their name and they're not on the very top of Google for their own name, that's probably not somebody you should work with.
Curtis, welcome to the show, man.
Man, Drew, it's so good to see you again.
For sure, dude. I'm excited to dig deeper into your background and some of the amazing things you've been able to launch, right? You've scaled multiple businesses, right? You've written multiple books. You're noted as a best-selling author. You host an Amazon Fire TV show called Success, Motivation, Inspiration. It's already pretty massive to be doing that. And you're the president of Newswire magazine, right? Where your goal is to help your clients grow in their exposure to their massive audience. But Curtis, what I can't help feel like is missing is, as I connect the dots here, a lot of your success comes through helping other people, right? To scale their own ventures and scale their own businesses. So how or when did you find your secret sauce that many of your clients you feel like are missing?
So I got into personal branding years ago. I've owned I had a cosmetic medical laser clinic, a company that manufactured bioidentical injectable research peptides, had a Christian clothing company, a telecommunications business we ran for over 10 years. By the end of it, had over 250,000 customers a month hitting the website. So had built some successful businesses. But what I'm realizing was anytime I started a new venture, or if there was say, for example, there's a government regulation where they've changed the scheduling of an injectable substance. And now you go from making good money to bankrupt and you start over again with the next business, starting from the ground up. Nobody had any clue who I was or what I did. So I'd start building this brand again, work like crazy, insane hours, building some kind of a brand, or you buy another company or you merge companies. And now nobody knows who you are. And so you're constantly having to build that brand. But what I looked at was guys like Richard Brunson, for example, one of my major competitors with the telecom company. He's the owner of Virgin Mobile, Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactic, Virgin Media. So the guy had built a brand where you may not agree with his lifestyle as far as being the playboy, kind of a party guy, but people that like him like the lifestyle. And so he could launch any type of a company, including, building a rocket to send somebody to space, and people are automatically on board. When he launched his phone company, I think they said he spent $200 million getting the thing launched and sold it for $2.2 billion. But before the thing shut down, sold it back to Sprint for $2.2 billion. But that was a name brand recognition. So that's when I started, like 2017, 2018 was when I really started building the personal brand. And now I'm at a point where I don't have to do the businesses that I really did not enjoy, make good money. But I'm getting to just work with guys, help them on the personal branding and really help people expand their brand and help more people by reaching a larger audience.
And it sounds like some of that ability to have a larger perspective, if you will, within this business and networking side of things, the forced rebuilding of your network and your credibility across these various areas, right? From cosmetics to telecom and to your other adventures, right? It sounds like having to rebuild each time over and over again probably came with some hurdles of its own, but then also lessons of its own, right? Was that pretty impactful and obviously what led you to the success you're having now?
I would not have a coach who had not had a major failure at least once and figure out how to get over it and how to start something else and build back better. But I didn't mean that to be a crappy presidential slogan, the build back better thing. But no, yeah, failure is definitely something that really helps out, helps you to learn. And I think that you need to have that. You need to have some type of success and failure in order to be able to help other people with their brand.
I guess on that point, do you have a couple, or I guess what was your most impactful failure that at least allowed you to build back?
So I'll tell you the one that was the biggest punch in the gut. When I owned and actually what got me into personal branding, I talked about starting the different companies and stuff. But I was a dozen companies in by the time I realized how much I needed my personal brand. At the time, I only owned 2 of the cell phone stores at the time. We were pretty new still. We were building a pretty good brand. I had a huge percentage of our clientele. This little store in Hotchkiss, Colorado, kind of in the middle of nowhere. There was basically one phone service that worked real great. The other three carriers weren't awesome. There was one of them that didn't work at all. But we had a lot of our customers were migrant workers that come over from Mexico for the summer, and they'd come work there and send the money back home to the family, but then also needed international long distance calling. And so we had a huge percent of our business. And I mean, my best friend at the time was born in Mexico. Same thing, had some family who was helping out there. And I mean, I went to his daughter's quinceanera, but we started losing a ton of our Mexican clientele, where it's just people are porting out, switching away. People that had been friends that we'd known forever, and everybody's just leaving us. So I'm finally like, what the heck? And this buddy comes in and he says, hey, Curtis, did you hear the rumor? You know what they're saying about you at this other store, at one of my competitor stores? And I said, no, I don't know what the heck's going on. He said, well, they said the owner of Best Cellular is a racist and that he won't let Mexicans in his store. Like, what? I wasn't sure what to say. And again, this is 14 years ago, 12, 14 years ago. So I've mellowed out a little bit since then. But at that time, I jumped in the truck and I was headed up just 35 mile drive up to this next door Delta. And on the way up there, I'm thinking, okay, do I grab the guy by the throat, drag him over the counter? Do you understand, tell him forcefully, this is not how we do business, and make sure he understands. But on the way up there, I'm thinking, I'm going to get arrested. I don't know what I need to do here, but I really need to not jeopardize my entire company and my credibility in town there for attacking a competitor. So I'm driving on the way up there, and I'm just thinking, I don't know what the heck to do. So I'm praying on the way up on, how do I handle this? This is bad for business. And it also, worse than being bad for business, made me look like a loser. Made me look like a terrible person. So I walk in the store and there's another customer in there. And so I wait, stay in line. I'm looking around on the walls there and they've got their posters hanging up, and at good international calling rates. Their plans were actually a little bit cheaper than ours for calling to Mexico. I'm like, oh, that's actually a pretty good deal. Their plans are pretty reasonable. And so the next customer walked out and he said, hey, how can I help you? And I said, oh, I just came from the Best Cellular store down in Hotchkiss. Do you know anything about Best Cellular? The guy jumped right into this whole story about, that's a terrible place. You should not do business there. Did you know the owner's racist and he won't let Mexicans in his store? And I'm like, okay, this is where this came from. But because he was talking to me about me, sharing me this horrible rumor, I realized this is not, at that time I'm going, this is not, he has no clue who I even am. He's not doing this to me. This is just his business strategy that kind of sucked. But he was sharing this whole thing about what a terrible person the owner was. So I got right in with it. I'm like, what a dirtbag, what a loser, If that's true, I hope he goes out of business like yesterday. Sounds like a terrible person. And so he's getting hyped up, telling me more and more all these crazy stories about what a horrible person this was. And so finally we talked, like, well, just so you know, I got a little phone company, got a few locations around here. We're opening another store over in Orchard Mesa, over in Clifton. If you guys never need any help, I put my card on the table and on his counter and slid it across and said, if you never need any help, give me a call. And so he looks down and says, yeah, I'm Curtis McCoy, President, Best Cellular. And he's kind of stuttering. And I'm like, listen, man, this is not cool how you're doing business, but you built a better brand about me than I did. As I was walking out, I realized this guy built a better brand about me than the story that I had shared about myself. And so that's where I really started figuring out. I went back, I watching tons of YouTube videos and checking out books at the library and all kinds of stuff, trying to figure out how to build a brand. And as that started taking off, realizing, well, you can generate a substantial revenue just by people knowing who you are. And so that's how I got into that. And actually now I've shut down, don't have Best Cellular and the other companies now. All I'm doing is the branding.
I'll say, for all the routes you had available to you to go, try to take that situation, the fact that you had this moment of realizing it was really just like, hey, yeah, it was about my personal brand. Had had I built a better image of myself that I had control of, for one, but then two, that I was using the community to build this supportive audience, right? I could
Yeah.
this would never have been a problem. This would have been a fly on a wall, never would have cared about it. And here I am, to your point, but you still chose that route. Hey, you know what? Be the bigger man here. Let's move forward. But that's awesome. So to that point, where did you start then in building this personal brand? Like when you decided, hey, I'm gonna head down this route, what was some of the first actions you took to build up your personal brand then for your businesses?
So we were, as I was doing this, I'm researching. I had a developer on staff, and then a young guy that was helping with coding and programming Android apps and building software. And we built our own point of sale system, and just a brain surgeon, sharp kid that did not like people. He's not a people person whatsoever, but one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And so we're talking there. We had a massive tax liability coming up where you either have to spend, invest in something or pay Uncle Sam. And so Sam says, "Hey, Newswire is for sale." And I'm like, "What, the press release distribution company?" He's like, "Yeah, Newswire. Look, they're launched in 1997. Here's all the backing. Here's all the crazy amount of links going into it. Yeah, it's for sale." I'm working 80 to 100 plus hours a week. I do not need another business. Like, this is a huge thing. You're talking about needing to spend some money. You're talking about, this whole thing. And he's all excited about it. And I'm like, if we do this, we're gonna have to hire somebody else, to help with the store here. But this is gonna be your project. I had another developer on staff who's worked for me, still works for me since like 2006 or 7. But talked to Susanthar, okay, if we have all of us start working on this here, how long is it going to take? And Susanthar said, well, if you allow me to hire 2 or 3 other developers, we can get this done, pretty quick. And so we got on it, started kind of brought it up from a company that was launched in 1997 and still stuck back in sending faxes and email blasting, thousands of reporters when a story came out, to a lot more tech-based stuff. We were using a different artificial intelligence that was not publicly available stuff yet. So we're really getting into bringing that up at the times. And that's kind of what we've done now, is just keep making it to where we can really help people build a solid personal brand without having to do all the work themselves.
And when you took on Newswire, was it already around kind of building supportive audiences for clientele? Or was some of that kind of a reposition of kind of the business prop of what you guys were trying to do with the company?
So it was strictly press release distribution. So have you ever filed, or have you ever submitted a press release?
Have not.
So this used to be a real popular thing where you could, and there's still a ton of companies that do press releases, but you get online, you Google press release distribution, you write out an article, try to make it search engine optimized, add a link in there somewhere, your picture, make it some kind of a newsworthy story. You submit that, and then they would email it to, all the relevant radio stations, TV, maybe newspapers, whatever you target in the release. They're sending it out. And these the reporters would get their email flooded with, thousands of different press release things being submitted to them. So they Google, or they'd search the keyword that they're looking for in their email box. And so they'd go, okay, there's 11 press releases today that are about that keyword I was looking for. So they try to read through them real quick, take that, and then publish it in their newspaper or magazine or whatever they had it in. So, as far as duplicate content, is basically you're putting out plagiarized. It's a nice way to get an article out on hundreds of sites at the same time. But most of them, the newspaper or the magazine or the news site was pulling it off the next day or a week later or 90 days later. So now you build this link, so you get SEO boost as far as your page rank increase, and then it'll crash again. And so we're going along. I was doing an event in Hollywood Hills. I had this event with a bunch of, like B-list celebrity kind of folks. Really cool hangout, just meeting some old rock stars, and got a new Bentley parked there. There's a Lambo. There's, people would pull up in their cool stuff, hanging out in a nice house. And we're talking, and one of the ladies was a PR expert who, she's basically done PR for presidents and political figures and every rock star you can think of. And there's quite a few of these old rock stars sitting around that I was getting to talk to, talking about their branding. And so she was mentioning some of the problems with the magazine and stuff that she was having. Like, we launched, we got this magazine that we've been working on. It had been live like 90 days at the time. So she was one of the first ones, she looked at the format and all the SEO stuff that we had going on and traded me a $15,000 ad spot to put her on the cover and do an article about her. So I'm thinking, okay, this is, something's going right here if she was willing to offer a $15,000 trade for what I was charging $2,000 for. And so we still, I mean, even since we launched the company, or since we launched the magazine, have not raised the prices since that first time. So try to make sure that, again, just like when I got on the call with you guys, provide value, where you're going, holy cow, this is amazing. I've got clients from years ago that are still sending us leads. It's just a free source of traffic now because people are benefiting ongoing from getting more than they paid for.
Well, exactly. If she's seeing the value you're providing as $15,000, right? That would tell me that, hey, if she's willing to go with it, you're different from the traditional marketing strategies, right? You somehow have some unique tactics that Newswire is implementing and providing in their content. So of that, what are some of the ways that Newswire goes about promoting the images of these people, and how does it really impact their audience and their network?
So basically, the way that we do this is, and that Newswire and Newswire magazines are two different. Newswire magazine are two different companies. So there is a main competitor called Newswire, and there's a whole bunch of different brands that are all PR site, or what is it called, press release sites. But this Newswire magazine is a different kind of an animal there. But what we do that's really different from the typical magazine or TV interview is somebody will jump on, we do a call here. If they qualify, they'll kind of share their story, whether that's maybe they sell a product, a service, they're doing their personal brand, maybe they're promoting their podcast. So we get on, do a video interview like you and I are doing right now, and really go in, dig in deep and ask them questions about how either them or their product or service can help our potential audience. They get to the end of that, and if it was a good interview and they qualify, and then also they're looking to do the branding, then we've got all kinds of different packages. But the most common is we'll take that interview. So we spent 30, 45 minutes, an hour on a video call, do the interview. That gets cropped up, edited into a full Amazon Fire TV interview in 4K, syndicated to Amazon Fire TV. It also gets uploaded to YouTube. I mean, anybody can post on YouTube for free. Then there's a dedicated couple thousand word article, search engine optimized article on our Amazon Fire TV show website that links back to them. So you got this SEO friendly article about your product or service or yourself, links back to your website or your social media or whatever you're trying to promote. Then you've got we'll take that same video, have it transcribed, pull the content, write in third person format, write a article similar to like you'd see in Forbes, Fortune, Entrepreneur, Inc. magazine, an article like that, SEO friendly article in Newswire magazine. And there's different placement options, but the most common is to put them on the cover of Newswire magazine, do the full search engine optimized featured article. So now you've got multiple websites, multiple full articles linking back to your page or your website or whatever you're promoting. And then we've got SEO friendly call to action at the bottom. Everything is designed in the article to, it's a product or service or somebody that's helping people. And then now that's got the call to action where it's products that we know, like, trust, people we like, and getting them promoted where we're getting the name out there. And then from there, I buy advertisements on the 96-foot billboard in Times Square, New York, other billboards across the country. There's some of them, if you're in certain geographic areas, maybe you live in a certain city where you get the digital billboards. I can actually buy the billboard advertising near your office or near your, maybe if you've got an event coming up, have that ad where people are seeing your face on the cover of a magazine and, over and over on this billboard, digital advertising, where the customer is not paying anything for that. That comes out of my pocket because I'm building the brand for Newswire magazine, but then also you're getting the benefit from it. So you pay the one time and then it's ongoing. We got people that been featured years ago that we're still promoting on a daily basis because they've got a good product, service, whatever, and having them associated with this is good for our brand too. So you pay once and keep getting the benefit.
Perfect. And if I could take a step back real quick, what are a lot of these people coming to you from your experience for when it comes to growing their network or their branding? Is a lot of it to the point just more of a personal image? Hey, I want to make myself look good so I can look good in front of this large audience? Or is it sometimes tied directly to like a business? Like, do you get to that level of like, hey, I need to grow this image of myself or the image of this business to grow the business or the side hustle that I'm in? Like, what's typical approach that most of these clientels are coming to you for?
So I'll read off a couple. One of them, we've got 3 companies right now that we're working. We're choosing between the 3. One of them is called Premium Grounding. But they do just grounding products where you plug it in the wall, and you've probably seen the ads on Instagram. But this Premium Grounding is the company I think we're going to promote on this one. So we got 3 we're picking from, and then the one that's got the best product, service, best offering, we'll do that. And then if I go right now, like if I go to news-wire.com/magazine, if you click on magazine covers, the covers is all personal branding. So some of the recent folks on there, we've had Josh Thomas. This is a guy you need to connect with. Josh Thomas with Conversational Funnels, absolute rock star as far as monetizing podcasts. He is making a killing and helping people do the same thing as far as figure out how to turn your podcast into a lead funnel. But he's one that just did the deal for him. Francis Cook is going into politics. He's a Republican out of Florida, so he's getting set up on his political career there. Ian G.K. is with Cisco International. Just didn't sought him in because of coach. Chief Pat Getz is the youngest chief of the Algonquin Indian tribe out in Canada. You got Bart Nollenberger's in automotive. John Geibel's a bull rider. We've had, you probably know C-Rock, Mike Sirocco. So got Mike. Felita Jana was with Desk to Bikini. Shane Appel is a TikTok singer that has got famous now. He's flying all over performing actually live music stuff there. Got one with RFK and President Trump talking about the Make America Healthy Again. Yes, I mean all kinds of anything that makes somebody's life better, we're willing to feature.
Hey, Frontier family. If you're finding value in today's episode, then Nathan and I want to tell you about a Facebook and LinkedIn community we're trying to grow of like-minded entrepreneurs who want to learn more to earn more. We share and discuss relevant topics, strategies, ideas, and overall ways to grow your net worth. So if you're interested in learning more, check down in the description of this video or this podcast to find the links to those pages. All right, let's get back into it. Okay, and to that point, I guess more so from the perspective of a small business owner or a young entrepreneur looking to kind of grow some of their businesses or side hustles, why should they be aware of growing their personal brand, and how can that help elevate their business ventures in the future?
That's a good question. People cannot do business with you if they can't find you. So a good example of this, I got hired a couple of years ago. A company actually Keller Williams Real Estate was hiring a speaker to come out and teach their real estate agents. They had 110 of the top real estate agents in their district. It was like a 5-state area, but the top 110 producing agents that go up to this event in Denver paid me $3,500 to speak for 30 minutes. Come out, and you've heard me talk here. I survived brain cancer. You've heard me trip over my words and still have a hard time communicating. But 17 speakers applied. Mine showed up when they Googled best motivational speaker in Colorado, or they got on YouTube and they searched that. My video's at the top. And so by having that brand, there's 16 other quality speaker who actually are getting paid to speak. That's their full-time career. I happen to be the guy that showed up best because I decided to rank for it, and my video showed up, and so I'm the one that got hired over the other 16 that I would guarantee are probably better speakers than I am.
So that's great. So it may not necessarily benefit a small business owner or a young entrepreneur kind of in the midst of their business, but to the point as you're looking for new opportunities or looking to grow or looking to scale, it puts you on the map.
Well, no, I mean, if you are, so throw out an example of a business. Talking about an electrician, a plumber, it does not matter who you are. If somebody searches you, if I get online, the guy that did all the electrical, we got this crazy stuff in this new studio, but the guy here, I'm helping him with his personal brand, because when you Google somebody, maybe you're an author or a speaker, or you sell some kind of a service or software, people search for for how to solve their problem. And they get to they might read the first 2 or 3 pages. Typically people are not reading 10 or 11 results on Google. I heard a guy say where's the best place to hide a dead body is on the second page of Google because nobody ever looks there. So yeah, I mean, if you're doing anything, if you ever expect to do any type of business or help anybody, you need to be on the top of the search results. You need to be getting your brand out there. So that's what I help people with.
That's a great point. And so would you say personal branding then isn't maybe just the personal term that I'm saying, hey, like this even applies to kind of business branding. Like it's still one of the same, right? Like if you need I love using, I don't know why, but I love using the idea of an ice cream shop, right? So if you want to be the best ice cream shop to solve the craving for ice cream in town, right? You got to be one that pops up on that first page to show. And this doesn't have to be my face on it, but my brand's on it, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
And that kind of depends. There's personal branding and there's business branding. That's with Newswire magazine. If we're branding your podcast, like the Brothers Frontier podcast, we would do an entire thing optimizing so if somebody searches for the Brothers Frontier or any of the keywords that you want to be showing up for, you'd be in a spotlight review. We do the Amazon Fire TV on their interview on that, where everything is driving traffic back to Brothers Frontier, where your podcast is the solution to whatever they're looking for as far as, they're searching for a podcast. If we're trying to brand your name, maybe say you're a coach, consultant, speaker, whatever your business is. If you're trying to build that brand name, maybe you're looking to be an influencer. You got something where your name needs to show up, where people can hire you. And maybe you've published a book and you want to where people Google your name. You need to be the very top 3, 4, 5 results on Google. Not only the top one, but you need to flood that search ranking there. So building that brand you have to own the traffic. Go to mywebsite.com, click on the podcast, watch the podcast on there. Instead of send somebody to YouTube, have them go to your website. They're on there watching the YouTube video, reading the article down below. They've got the call to action. Now you can monetize that traffic.
And just because we kind of talked on some of these topics, again, of ranking higher up on Google or in owning some of your own pages to then drive your own traffic through, what is kind of this balance between this idea of earned media and paid media? We kind of talked earlier off the show. What can you kind of define to us what earned media is versus paid media?
Yeah, so and it's a great question. Earned media is basically anything that you're doing to earn media. So that could be if you own a retail store. For example, one of the things we did years ago, we had some cell phone stores, but I bought a gigantic, gigantic movie projector screen and a 4K projector and then a sound system. And so we would host movie nights every couple of weeks throughout the summer. We'd have an employee or a customer or somebody call local radio stations, news stations, and say, hey, did you guys know that Best Cellular is hosting a free outdoor movie tonight? They're playing The Princess Bride on Friday night. I heard they've got a taco truck showing up and taco truck showing up. He's happy to be there, get the business. We'd have somebody else with their popcorn truck doing caramel corn. Somebody else doing whatever they were offering. But earned media meant we were working our butt off. I spent money on the equipment stuff. We're there till midnight, having somebody inside the store that open up the store, let the kid go in and go to the bathroom. So a ton of work to earn the media where the newspaper and the news, the radio station, we'd have some nights where the radio station would show up. They've got their stuff set up. They'd turn down the music, but still leave the lights up. Now people are pulling in off the street going, hey, what the heck is going on here? And they're pulling in, bringing up a lawn chair and watching the movie with us. So earned media is whether that's writing blogs, whether it's you grab your cell phone, you say, hey, this is Drew with Brothers Frontier. Just want to share a tip on whatever your business is. So you're providing value over and over and over again. Means you're investing time or money or both to earn the credibility or earn media recognition. Basically, you don't spend money on earned media until you can already monetize the traffic that's coming in. So if some random person accidentally lands on your website, there needs to be a chance that they can click on something, buy it, pay you without you knowing them, without that being your brother or your friend or your neighbor that's doing it just to be nice to you. But if you got a funnel that's already generating traffic, not generating traffic, a funnel that will close when traffic comes in, now you start spending money on earned media, and that boosts that, just puts that through the roof, where the more money you spend, the more money you make.
Okay, so it sounds like earned media is a place that most small business owners and entrepreneurs should start, right? The place that you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort to kind of grow your brand and image to then at some point kind of run it through that funnel and run it through larger paid avenues, if you will. To that point, how would you go about building kind of that authenticity of brand while working hard at the earned media upfront? What are some of the things you recommend starting for someone trying to grow their personal brand or business brand?
So a big thing that's still very successful, very popular, and this could actually be done with a podcast. You guys are doing this, but blogging, you could create, if if you got the paid subscription on ChatGPT, or you could even do this with the free version, getting on writing blog articles. So if you are, a good way you could do this was if you are, say you're a consultant or a coach, if you start every single day, even if you go into ChatGPT, you ask it questions, tell it to write me a list. This is my target audience. Write a list of 30 different topics for articles that my audience might want to hear about. Now you say, okay, number 5 sounds great. So I like topic number 5. Write a compelling article outline for a 2,000 to 3,000 word search engine optimized article about this title, about that topic. So now it'll go through and it'll write out the article outline. This is a hack to get a lot longer article out of ChatGPT. Tell it to write you an article outline. Then say, now using this article outline, write a search engine optimized, keyword dense article about this topic using the article outline above. And so you have it spit out this 2,000 to 3,000 word article. Now you take the time, again, earned media, you're taking the time to go through that. Maybe you've got 5 or 10 minutes into the research. Now it spits out the article draft. You put that on your website as a blog. So if it was brothersfrontier.com/ whatever your topic is, you optimize that, you put your article in there, spend some time, make it really a good quality, the best solution to somebody's problem that they're searching for. So you start publishing content. Do that every single day. At least 5 days a week. Putting out articles ongoing. So do that for at least 90 days before you ever ask for anything. Maybe you get a link in there once in a while, to a product or service or affiliate offer or something. But now the more that you start putting out, pretty soon you start ranking for that relevant, the relevant topics there. Now that's when the traffic will start. You can start monetizing that by having an offer at the bottom or throughout the article or whatever.
And how would you apply that to more of like a brick and mortar location, right? Like for someone whose product would either be, I guess, could be sold to someone through the internet, but also like, again, like the ice cream shop idea, like how, is there a similar strategy you would approach to someone that's more of like a brick and mortar kind of scenario?
So brick and mortar local businesses are easier. You're going to get, you've got a massive cap on, unless you're in the middle of downtown San Francisco or something where there's tons of traffic. But if you're not in a huge town, you've got a cap on your potential audience. If, say you own a weight loss clinic next to an ice cream shop, those two businesses, you've got a cap of the maximum number. If you had a letter and everybody in town DM 50% off a scoop of ice cream, there's a certain number of people who don't like ice cream, certain number of people who are diabetic and shouldn't be eating ice cream, certain number of people are trying to lose weight, and so they're going to your competitor next door with the weight loss thing. So you're capped on the local businesses, but that makes it a whole lot easier to rank for with maybe the only ice cream shop, or maybe you're only 3 or 4 ice cream shops in town. That's more of somewhere you do a search engine optimization or paid ads or whatever. But get on, do some stuff in the newspaper or the radio, or that's not my wheelhouse. Though that's not my. I've owned retail stores. That's a lot easier to figure out how to get traffic to walk in your door and put up a bigger sign. Have somebody paint a nice, what is it called? The painted mural thing in your window. You can generate business there without having to ever search for anybody online. But my wheelhouse is more of the traffic where you're competing against every person on the internet who's doing the same thing as you are. And basically on the internet, when you build a website, does not matter how pretty it is, how nice it looks, all the features, all the cool stuff. Every website, when you build it, I would compare this to like building the coolest shopping mall in history. There's car dealerships, there's a carnival, there's every restaurant, everything you could possibly ever imagine in this best shopping mall ever. You build that in the middle of the desert with no roads going into it and no landing strip for a plane. That's where you're starting when you launch a new website. So from there, it does not matter how cool the site is. If people cannot find you, they can't do business with you. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm working on, is helping people build the traffic to an online presence. Or again, if you're trying to build your personal brand, as a speaker, coach, consultant, where it's not, you need to come to my local office to buy ice cream or to do business with me as a lawyer. Maybe it's a guy that's flying all around the country, needs to build his brand where he is the personal injury lawyer that handles personal injury. So you fly him out to any, wherever he's going. That's kind of the more client.
So as you're helping these people kind of grow their larger image, what are some of the ways that you're managing like their brand effectiveness? What are some of the key indicators or leaders that you're using to kind of gauge the success, or just, hey, maybe time to reposition and kind of go this route? Do you kind of have a good way of kind of measuring things like that?
So my business, the way that I monetize is by taking guys who are people who are already successful, people who are already crushing it in life and business. They've already built a name for themselves. Brothers Frontier podcast would be a good example of this, where you are doing a good job, you're reaching a good audience, people like your show, you're doing quality interviews, you've already got that tuned up. Your website is looking awesome. So take somebody like that who's going, okay, now you start offering whatever your service is on that, some kind of an upgrade, some kind of something on the site where you've tested it out, you put it on Facebook, and you know that if people land on the site, some of them buy it. That's where I take those now that are already getting a little bit of success, and I take that and amplify it to where if we put you in an article where you've got 100,000 readers on your article in the first month and you're solving a problem for somebody, now you go from zero. If you imagine a stadium with 40,000 people, a packed football stadium, 40,000 people standing in there. If you were standing in the middle, those people, every one of them came with the same problem. The reason they showed up in that stadium was to ask you a question on how to fix it. If you had 40,000 people there and you could say, listen, here's the answer, right here, here, go down to this section on the way out. Here's how you sign up. Here's how you solve the problem. If you could talk to 40,000 people, that would be a mind-blowing amount of traffic. So now imagine that where you've got the same thing, 100,000 people a month are searching for that product. We're doing the social media marketing. We're putting you on Amazon Fire TV, putting you on the billboard in Times Square, New York, above the stage. And now you're the solution. And so when people Google you, or when they search for you, they find your article now, and they're going, or they're on Amazon Fire TV. They're watching the show. They're going, wow, the Brothers Frontier podcast, they've, this is your offering. Here's how they can help me. And we'll say throughout the show, hey, if you're watching this right now on Amazon Fire TV or YouTube, click the pause button, visit this site, or scroll to the bottom of the article on Newswire magazine. Click here, check them out. So now you've got relevant calls to action in this show for people that are searching for the problem, and they're finding you. You are the solution that's being endorsed, and that's how you start. But I would recommend if you're at a point where you've got an idea on, okay, I think I can help people coach with this type of coaching, or I just published a book and I don't know if anybody's actually going to buy it. It's a story about my life, and I don't know if it's really going to help anybody. If you're at a point where you're not sure if you can make money off of the traffic that you're already getting, do not spend money with me or anybody else on the paid media. Paid media is for people who are starting to achieve some success and want to explode that.
In terms of kind of moving forward, because I know we don't have a ton of time left, but in terms of then how you make sure that you stay on top of the trends and you're kind of forward thinking in terms of how you're adapting with these personal brands as they adapt themselves, as new trends and stuff come out. Is there a way in which you kind of constantly comb through the website or the articles or what you guys are providing or presenting or whatever to kind of, just like I said, stay up to date with those future trends or adapting personal brands?
Yeah, so mine, rather than coaching people on their personal brand, and the reason that I do that is because once I've helped you gain a level of success where you're going, hey, people on my site, they're when they find me, they're paying me. So now you're looking to advertise. As I've helped somebody do that, like when I'm speaking at these events or whatever, now when it's time for them to spend money on advertising, I'm the guy that they reach out to. So I don't do paid media. I mean, I don't do, I'm not managing Google ads. I'm not managing Facebook ads. I'm not helping you build your website and that kind of stuff. It's you're doing an interview with me where it's a one-time, the transaction. You get on, do the interview. I go through, just like you guys do, really research your guests and help them you're asking questions to make me sound like a stud. So when we get done with the interview, you just made me feel like a rock star. And now your guests are watching this, and if they like what I've said, maybe they're going to do some business. That's kind of the thing where I do too. The interview is usually a one-time thing. we go into doing the marketing, putting out, editing and uploading the interview to Amazon Fire TV, writing the article about you in Newswire magazine, doing the advertising. Then we start the social media marketing. It's like if somebody's following me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or any of the different social platforms, that is an ongoing thing that I'm working for them. So once I've got a little small team too, but once you've done the work of, going through doing the interview, then it's in our hands. You pay the invoice, and then forever it's ongoing advertising that you get for the rest of, as long as we're in business. Been in business since 97. So I mean, if I die tomorrow and nobody else wants to run the company, then we might be done. But besides that, you should be getting a good return on your investment for a little while at least.
And obviously, Newswire magazine, with the idea that, hey, I'm just, again, keeping on that idea of sticking with trends and things is changing, right? It's no longer just a magazine right now. It's also stuff online and stuff like that. Is there anything that you're doing with the company yourself to kind of stay ahead as things continue to change, right? As even as short form becomes really popular right now, right? Are you trying to stay involved in providing some of that content that you have on Newswire magazine and kind of converting that over to some of those more modern styles as well, and having a mix of all of
Oh,
them?
man. Yeah, man. If they're, so when I'm talking, it's usually older folks. If I got a guy that's in his late 60s, early 70s, and I tell them about magazine or TV, they're like, heck yeah, sign me up. They don't know anything about these social media ads and stuff. But if you Google M. Curtis McCoy, Google Newswire magazine, Google Success, Motivation, Inspiration, our TV show. Our Facebook group's got over 427,000 members when I checked this morning, active members. So yeah, we're on social media. Got over 700,000 active followers across all platforms combined. But a big point of that is everybody's looking for the quick fix on, hey, how do I think I'm shadow banned. No, it's people don't see you because your content sucks. Like, make your content better, start solving problems. You're typically not shadow banned. It's just nobody's finding you because you're not blowing up with the local group of people that find you first. So we do stuff where, if you pull up, I've only got two of my phones in here right now. If you grab one of your phones though, and you pull up M. Curtis McCoy on Instagram, you'll see, there's all kinds of different articles on here. There's one with K4CO Radio. Here's the Queensboro Clothing Company, Polar Express, LaDoche red light therapy cap. So it's ongoing. Yeah, we're doing all kinds of marketing, and I've got clients that have 2 or 3 years later sent me additional referrals, and I even pay them for those referrals. It's make it where it's every time you hear about Newswire magazine, if you've done business with us, you need to be thinking, man, those guys are awesome. Oh, I had a friend that I need to share with them, instead of thinking, yeah, I wish I wouldn't have wasted that money,
And while we're on that topic, let's go ahead and get it out there, right? What are some of the ways that if people are wanting to reach out to you, how can they find you, right? Is it best through your personal accounts or through the magazine page? How can people get a hold of you?
So, and I don't mean to say, I don't mean to sound like you got a big head here, but if you're going to work with a personal branding guy and you can't find them, a guy or girl, if you Google their name and they're not on the very top of Google for their own name, that's probably not somebody you should work with. So you can reach out to me I'm on Instagram and Facebook all day, every day. Podcasts, listen, like shows like yours, I'm sure there'll be a link from brothersfrontier.com/M. Curtis McCoy. So go down there, read the article, watch the video, click on the link, and you'll be able to get there from the Brothers Frontier page. But just send me a message. I read every message. We've got AI that does a lot of it, but I get notified on anything where it's somebody looking to talk to me.
Although that's a good point. We interview so many people, and giving out their tags and stuff like that. And to your point, hey man, if they're a good enough brand, look up the name. It's going to be at the top of Google. So that's awesome. To that point, for those who are wanting to learn more regarding the world of personal branding and kind of growing their image, do you have any additional resources for the audience you could help provide in terms of like from podcasts to books, some of the things that helps you along the way?
One of the ones, if you go to news-wire.com/matchmaker, it's matchmaker-FM, or just go to Newswire magazine, click it, look at the Matchmaker FM is a huge, very beneficial platform that we've used to book guests, and it's working for you. We got connected on there because of that. you can check out the host, the video platform we're using right now, Riverside FM, is awesome. Again, you go to Newswire, search Newswire magazine, news-wire.com/Riverside-FM. You click on that, it'll tell you all the different benefits, some tips on how to use it best. But that's probably the two that I recommend if you're looking to get booked on podcasts. And then also, Josh Thomas is an absolute rock star as far as monetizing your podcast and converting those into high-paying traffic. So I would definitely read that article. That's Newswire, news-wire.com/Josh, /conversational-funnels. Check that out. Really good going there. Josh is a good dude. We did an episode together and ended up putting him on Amazon TV and Newswire magazine. And yeah, that would be probably the three that I'd recommend right now if you're looking to build a solid podcast or build a solid personal brand and you don't have the money yet to spend on paid media.
Perfect. And Curtis, we appreciate that, man. I know it was a good episode because here I am I got plenty of questions sitting in the back of my head saying, man, we got to get those out there. But hey, man, sometimes too long of an episode is not a good episode. So I expect maybe in the future we'll follow up with one. But hey, man, we appreciate your time today. And we love all the information you provided, man. We really do.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, let's stay in touch.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
You too.